Hello everybody and welcome. Today we're going to talk about testicles. We're going to talk about the most common diseases and symptoms around the testicles. But most importantly, we're going to be talking about the emotions behind each of these disease or symptom in the testicles. And what a better month to do this than in April, which is Testicle Cancer Awareness Month. But to talk about testicles, we're going to have to mention somebody very important in the history. Somebody that put together emotions and disease. He didn't separate them. And he realized the disease just cannot come as itself. It has to come because it was a trigger emotionally to create this disease. And this is Dr. Hammer. This German doctor that created what today we call the New German Medicine. This doctor that also was diagnosed back in 1970 something with testicle cancer. And this diagnosis, although it may have shocked him at the beginning, created more questions than answers. And he was very curious to find what was really causing this testicle cancer. This diagnosis for him didn't make sense to him at that time. So what he did is he started this new study and research with a lot of men that, as him, was also diagnosed with testicle cancer. And the results were amazing, which we're going to talk about in a minute. So from there, he started a whole new research about all of the diseases and the meaning behind and what was truly causing this disease in somebody. Because why somebody's super healthy, eating all well, great lifestyle will have cancer, will have something else. So with this, let's get started. So when we talk about testicles, we're going to be referring to conflicts with separation, loss, masculinity, also with reproduction, because this is what testicles are for, right? So when we have a disease or a symptom in the testicles, we always going to refer to that. Separations, lost, masculinity, my masculinity, or how of a man I feel, sexuality, and reproduction. So going back to Dr. Hammer, and his diagnosis was testicle cancer. When we talk about testicle cancer, we have to look for a big loss or separation, but actually a loss of a child, a real child or a symbolic child. What do I mean by symbolic? It could be your nephew, it could be your niece, it could be your pet. For some men, even the car, that car that they love so much, that was like a baby. And they actually will tell you, that was like my baby. That car, it's my life, it's my baby. I don't have children, they may say, but that car is my child. So that's what I call a symbolic child. So when a man is diagnosed with testicle cancer, we need to look for that loss of the child, real or symbolic, in that man. And that was actually Dr. Hammer conflict. Because 6 months period, the diagnosis of testicle cancer on him, he had lost his child. He had lost his son. He was assassinated. That's why I got a bit choked when I was going to say it. So testicle cancer, the loss of a child, real or symbolic, that's what we need to look for. But also we need to look on the family tree, because maybe your name is Louis and your father's name is Louis. Maybe you haven't lost a child, maybe not real or symbolic, but your dad did. And so that's when we talk about the our DNA in our ancestors. And now I am in the same age when my dad, which his name is Louis, my name is Louis, and he lost his child, and now I have testicle cancer. So that's why we always have to look for the family tree anyways. Doesn't matter what our issues also are today, but we also need to look in another loss in that family tree. So let's talk about the interstitial zone. That has to do with separation, but also or lost, but also live with guilt. Maybe I got separated from my partner, but I feel guilt for it because it was my fault. That's why we separated, because it was my fault. Or I lost a job that was really important. It was my fault. I'm feeling guilty about this separation or this loss. But also we need to look for conflicts where the person feels humiliated, sexually talking about, where this man that is having this symptom feels very, very humiliated, because the person that is with him maybe doesn't feel that he is performing sexually like the person would like, or he feels that he could do better. And for that reason, the other person is making him feel that way. Maybe he isn't really, but he is feeling this way because this person, this partner of him, it's making him feel that way. So when we talk about hydrocele, now we're talking about a conflict of protection, where this man feels the needs to protect, but it needs to protect in this maternal role, more loving way of protection. Because we need to remember, when is the word hydro, we're talking about water. And when we talk about water, we need to talk about the mother, the role of the mother. Because remember, the first contact you had with water was when you were in your mother's womb. So when we have hydrocele, we talk about this conflict of protection, that I need to do it in maybe a more loving way, maybe in a more maternal way. I need to protect my children, but in a more loving way, not so macho way, let's put it that way. Or maybe we need to also look for the loss of a woman, the loss of a partner, but not any partner, not any girlfriend. That girlfriend that I wanted to have children with, and I just lost it, and now I have hydrocele. Or we also need to look for those hidden children. Those children in your family tree that were hidden for some reason. Or maybe you are one of these children. Maybe your mom had a relationship with a married man. So this man, your father, had another family somewhere else, and you were the hidden child. So when we talk about varicocele, now we're talking about a person that feels locked, that feels tied up, that feels maybe tied up because he has another child, but this child is from his partner, it's not his, but he's bringing this child and he treats this child like it's his. And that is not well seen maybe in the family. Somebody that feels really tied up in this family. But also we need to look for protection conflicts, where you feel that you need to protect your children, but in a very hard way. That I need to be strong. It's not just like the water. When the hydrocele, in the varicocele, we need to look for this protection that needs extra walls, let's say, extra protection. So when we talk about cryptorchidism, then we need to look for conflicts of reproduction. I don't want to reproduce. I don't want to have children. I just don't want to do it. I don't feel capable of having children, because probably you had a father that was a very tough father, a father that maybe was not the most loving one. He maybe was aggressive in some ways, and he was a really tough parent. And you unconsciously may feel that you, consciously or unconsciously, you may feel that you're gonna be just like him, this awful father, that what for you this father was, and you just don't want to reproduce, you don't want to keep having children, you don't want to have it because you don't want to keep repeating what your father did, because you feel that you may ended up being just like your father. But also we need to look for incest, real incest. Maybe your father abused you, sexually abused you, or maybe your father touched you in places that he shouldn't have touched you. And that creates the Cryptorchidism. Sorry about that. Atrophy in the testicles. We're talking about loss or separation, but this is being lived in a very different way, where this loss or separation make me feel abandoned. Because most of the time anyways, when we lose somebody die, sometimes you feel abandoned, like this person left me, abandoned me. And although it sounds silly, but I see this a lot in my consultations. So when we have atrophy in the testicles, we need to look for this. This maybe somebody died. So let's say your father died. It was quick. It was just a heart attack. It just died unexpectedly. But you leave this as an abandonment. He left me. And there again, we need to go on the family tree. We need to look for all those other losses where maybe somebody felt abandoned, or maybe you already felt abandoned before. So now when that dies, that reaffirms all of these emotions. Maybe dad abandoned you at one point. He left you when you were a child, but then later on in life he came back. But suddenly he died quickly and you couldn't. So now you have a double loss with your father. So that could go for atrophy in the testicles. Ectopic. When we talk about the ectopic testicle, always we need to look for incest in your family tree, or incest in yourself, that you were a subject of incest in your family. Always with an ectopic testicle, we need to look for this. We need to go to the family tree to see where those incest were. And you may say, well, actually, I don't have a lot of information about my family tree. It doesn't matter. If you have the symptom, it's because that happened already. So we need to go and look for, and that's why I have so many tools to go and take you to that, even though you may not have information. It's all in us. We all have it. If you have the symptom, believe me, this is already in your family. Well, I hope this has answered all of the questions you may have. If it didn't, or if you do have some issues in your testicles, please leave a comment below. I love to answer, and I would love to help you if I can. And if you know somebody that has any testicle diagnosis, please share, because this video may help somebody. This video may save somebody's life. So please do and share. I hope to see you next time in my next video. Take care and bye-bye.